I'm Theo. I draw stuff on the screen.
I am Sam. I am also here.
Whoa.
I'm Neil, the social media monster. Now, cast yourself deep underground through mysterious caverns you've made your way.
It's so dark.
You walk into a cavern which is strangely oval-shaped. Seems constructed, but different.
Okay.
Things seem to scurry around on the ground as you make your way holding your lantern high. Suddenly, individuals burst left and right, grabbing hold of your arms. One seems to be, a dark elf. The other one seems to be a human. They grab hold of you, and then emerging from the shadow in front of you, the writhing tentacles of a Mindflayer.
Mindflayer! Gosh!
Yes.
No.
Or an illithid.
An illithid. That is I believe, the Mindflayer's name for itself.
Yes, the illithid. Like a completely, literally in the setting, alien race.
Oh yeah, it is. It is from space, isn't it?
They are aliens.
And they are the arch nemesis of the Gear? Is that correct?
The Gear, yep.
Who are also from space.
Because the Mindflayers enslave everyone. It's a plot of continual revenge is their sort.
They are underground creatures again. It's another underground creature.
Well, they're found often in the Underdark, which doesn't necessarily have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
just a cave. What I was alluding to earlier was this kind of an alien setting that they may be in. Caverns that they've made for themselves.
Yeah.
Like I'm imagining an alien. Those half kind of organic but not organic tubes and sacks that seem to inflate and deflate for some nefarious purpose.
There's one thing I hate, and that is nefarious sacks.
Nefarious sacks, my least favourite basketball teacher.
Now, Sam, if you hate nefarious sacks, you will hate Mindflayers. Now, I remember this. It's not written in the description for 5e, but I believe illithids have no bones.
What? Do they?
They hold themselves up through muscle and inflated sacks.
No bones! Okay, really?
Yeah, it means they can have kind of strange movement. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually something interesting, because...
Not like floating sacks, but like their veins physically like inflate like muscle kind of fibre.
Because whenever I see an illustration of a Mindflayer, it appears to be a thing with a human body, like a very human-like body on with an octopus for a head.
Yeah, that's definitely the mental image I have.
So I want to... okay. I definitely want to kind of look into this sort of sack thing, but I don't want it to just look too cartoony. So
let's think about the natural octopus idea, because octopuses don't have bones.
They don't, and tentacles are truly hilarious.
Octopuses don't have bones, and they can get through very small spaces.
The other thing about Mindflayers is they wear clothes, so...
They wear high fantasy sci-fi gothic.
So much clothes.
Yeah.
Which does, however... pose me the issue that I want to get across this sort of alien body, but I also can't show its body too much, which is that's just gonna be a little design thing for me.
So I just need to say this one phrase: are we going for Octodad or not?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Octodad, the Dadliest Catch. I am going to stick with these arms. I have decided that.
I like them a lot already.
And I want to... Oh, okay. They have legs, don't they? They just... Well, does it say in their lore that they've got legs?
I mean, this description... this image of them in their player's handbook, he has a very long skirt. You don't see it.
Yeah.
And strictly speaking, they are not humanoids. They're aberrations.
I mean... I don't see why it should have anything other than Octodad legs, really. Because if it's not got bones, those legs are gonna suck. Let's just put it that way. As someone who's had legs most of my life,
yeah,
the thing that's holding them up is the bones. There's muscles there, sure.
But the bones are doing a lot of work there. Good work.
It could be air pressure mimicking bones.
But it would need to have at least. But then
it could have like cartilage there.
But then they'd pop. When you kill
they do. Apparently, when you kill Mindflayers, they deflate.
Why did I not know this? That's very funny.
I mean, this is old. This is old lore. I could be getting it wrong, but I don't think I am.
I mean, they definitely ought to deflate.
I just want to get the horror of these things across, though.
Yeah.
Because that's something which I was trying to get across a little in the intro. Like,
Yeah.
all fun and games aside, these guys they do not care for life of any other beings except themselves, and they devour brains and enslave at will. There's no real joking around with the bog standard mind flayer.
They might be the ultimate sort of like sort of lawful evil thing, I guess, in a way. I mean, we had the vampire, which is another sort of, I guess it's a similar sort of class of evil, but I think a vampire is more human by its nature than the mind flayer, which is straight up, very, very much the opposite. It is playing on the Cthulhu, the other, as it is called.
There's something very horrific.
Eldritch, that's the word I'm looking for.
There's something very horrific about the lawful evil that you cannot deal with.
Quite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have, and they also come in groups, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna have a couple of mind flayers here.
Well,
from what I recall, their favorite thing is basically plotting to take over. That's like their number one hobby.
And eat brains.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Big fans of brains. Like that bug in Starship Troopers, they'll just slurp it down. Just to get into the stats of what that entails.
Yeah.
These creatures are only challenge rating 7, right?
It's not as high as you might expect from a very.
Yeah, but that's because they will never be alone.
There's also that, yes.
An element of D&D which I know you are very fond of, Theo, which I think you may want to get across in here, is their psionic prowess.
Now that is true. They are psychic boys. Ooh, that is a good point.
They are all telepathic, and they all have innate spells that they can cast, such as Dominate Monster and Plane Shift, based just on their mental acuity.
Oh gosh, I think this one over here might be doing some psychic stuff.
They're the kind of thing that they're always going to be throwing like their minions at you first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Disposably, just kind of chuck them at you.
I think it literally says in their description that they will throw thralls at you as they would thoughts of the attacking at you.
I see.
It's just they think deal with them, and a bunch of their thralls, which, as I talked, could be a multitude of races enslaved and changed by their very actions. Some races in D&D only exist because of the mind flayers have inflicted themselves upon them, like the Duragar.
Oh yeah, the sort of deep down dwarf, kind of like the drow equivalent for dwarves, but with different story, obviously.
They are like that way because of the mind flayers have done that to them.
Right.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And in different sets of drow lore, the drow have been enslaved by the mind flayers and broken free. The Kuatoa, the little fish guys.
Yeah.
They're like a broken race of madmen because of what the mind flayers have done to them and just cast them out after they were done.
Ooh.
They are the calculating kind of like.
They really are a proper like alien race from. I don't know, you could have a mind flayer in like Star Trek or anything like that. As someone who's not too knowledgeable about Star Trek, in fact, not at all knowledgeable, I'm sure there's already something in there which is probably pretty close.
As somebody who is quite knowledgeable of Star Trek, I think that this scene where he uses extract brain would be pretty horrific.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true.
The book, which goes on like average +1 damage. This is the average +1 number.
Yeah. For
extract brain. It can only do it to a grappled target, so it's 55 damage.
Yeah,
at CR 7.
That's a lot.
That's gonna smart. You're gonna feel that brain suck.
Yeah.
I'll get into this guy a bit more later, I think.
I'm just gonna go for a few of these things, right? The Mind Flayer has advantage on saving throws against spells and magical effects.
Mm-hmm.
So He already knows exactly what you're going to do. He's calculated the odds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intelligence 19, Wisdom
Wow.
17, Charisma 17.
Ooh.
Strength, Dex, Con 11 and 12, respectively. So, not strong, but he will sit back and manipulate the circumstances.
Now, I feel okay. I wanted to draw another monster which I know is related to the Mindflayer, which is cheating. But there's a big brain.
Yes.
They're controlled by a big brain.
This is the other horrific thing about the Mind Flayers.
I might not do that. Maybe we'll do them later. But they are controlled by a big brain.
Well, I think that you could have one in the background. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it'll be far off.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a background piece. We might go into I can't remember what it's called.
The Elder Brain.
The Elder Brain. It's such a... Not generic. Well, yeah, it's such a parody of it. It's a parody of a name, yeah.
The Elder Brain is... The Mind Flayers are not a hive mind in the traditional sense. Each one has its own set of thoughts.
Yeah.
But they all listen to their mother brain.
Yeah.
That will be telling them and coordinating them, and it makes them even more horrific that there's something behind them. You burst into a room of the brain eaters and there's just a giant brain.
I'm putting it in a big tank. I have no idea if that's accurate. If we ever do go into the Elder Brain, we'll find out. For now, it's going to be in a big sci-fi tank. Because that amuses me.
The other thing about them is like... Because I mean, full disclosure, and this might not be fully correct, but I was looking at doing them for the episode when we did the vampires because you were looking for a monster that could be clothed.
Oh yeah,
I was very tempted to do the Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was reading through, and obviously you can correct me, Neil, about it, but they're also just like cruel, kind of for the hell of it. Like they enjoy experimenting on people. Like they might make someone's brain into an intellect devourer because why not?
Yeah,
basically.
It may be for some purpose that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah, exactly. For whatever reason, they just might take someone's brain out and make it that thing.
I think Volo is incredibly scathing on them in his Volo's Guide to Monsters. Really? There's like an aside about that, which we won't go into now because there are many different types of illithid.
I was talking about that as well because you point out illithid is their like species name, but that's only there to distinguish them from all the other kinds of mind flayers, of which there are loads, like the vampire mind flayers and the sorcerer mind flayers and all this.
By the way, I'm really into this art. It's very different to what we've done before. I'm really into this.
Think about the clothing. Now they do wear, in the book at least, they have like ridiculous like high collars like that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
which is very silly.
Yes,
and I don't really feel like I should get rid of that, but I might not. I might give them both different ones. This one,
Ming the Merciless.
I might have a Ming the Merciless, like very high. I mean, that's good old sci-fi. The thing about them, which is kind of interesting, is they're not, because they're obviously playing on things to do with like the like Cthulhu stuff and with that's the thing, we didn't even talk about what they physically look like because I'm very aware of what they look like, but they don't really quite fit like that because they do have, like, in all like Cthulhu mythos stuff. It's so far beyond human comprehension that like you can't even begin to communicate with one of these things without becoming a gibbering pile of brain worms or something. Whereas these guys, they're a little bit less on that scale to a certain extent.
Yeah, certainly.
They're more like super cultists than
they do plot like domination and like taking over. That's like
in D&D. The core problem is that your players fight everything and they should have a reasonable chance of winning.
Yes, that's exactly the thing. This is not the game Call of Cthulhu where the monsters are completely unbeatable. A lot of them will have rules about they'll have the rule if you kill it, it doesn't die and it kills you. This is like okay, cool.
These creatures will be, one of them in a fight with his thralls will be a endeavour to defeat.
Yeah.
The DCs for nearly everything is DC 15.
Which is pretty tough.
Including probably one of the most devastating attacks I've read in a while.
Oh yeah.
Which is Mind Blast, which is a 60-foot cone.
Cone? Ooh, yes, we've not had many things with AoE area effect stuff, have we? Because area effect is like bad in D&D.
Yeah.
As in
a
powerful.
60 10-foot cone
It's a big cone.
of psychic energy. It's called Mind Blast.
Yeah.
Which
Mind Crush.
is a DC 15 intelligence check.
Those are rare.
Yeah.
It's normally, yeah.
And then it's the neutral +1 is 22, but 4d8 +4 psychic damage. And be stunned for 1 minute.
Oh.
Oh my
Oh,
god! Because
no.
A creature can repeat its save at the end of its turn, but that's it.
That's horrific. That's so strong.
And stunned is do nothing.
Yeah, stunned as you miss your turn. That's
so he
that's
can
very
walk
good.
over, grapple
That's pretty
you,
wild.
and eat your brain.
Because you are effectively you're restrained. Not quite, not exactly the same, but I guess. God, that is very scary.
Tentacles. They're tentacles on their face.
Mm-hmm.
+7 to hit.
Yeah.
On hit, 15 or 2d10 damage, +4.
Yeah.
Psychic damage. If the target is medium or smaller, it is grapple.
Okay.
Escape DC 15. And it must succeed on another DC 15 intelligence check or also be stunned until the grapple ends.
Jesus Christ. This is strong boys.
They are constantly invading your mind with their psychic presence.
I'm going to give this one a space helmet.
I love it.
See, this one's got a big glass dome because he knows the mother brain, whatever it's called.
He is
Has a
the
big glass dome.
commander.
Yeah. I don't have enough room.
Commander Crime.
He's going to have a nub on top of it as well. They are famously tough, I think, and that stunned is a rare thing in 5th edition because, like, I think they try to make 5th edition fun to play, and stunned is not fun to play again because if you get stunned, that's just you can't play for now. Come back when you can play.
Yeah, put your dice down.
I don't like that.
No rolling today.
I should have just erased all that. Why did I go backward? Jesus Christ. Right.
By the way, Devour Brain, if it gets you to 0 hit points, your character is instantly killed.
Yeah, like killed.
Just,
is not
just
down.
to put that out there. And there's no cooldown on that ability. If it's grappling you,
it can't get full.
Yeah, if it's grappling you, then it will just keep eating brains until you are dead. Yeah.
They do wear armor as well, don't they?
The one in the book explicitly has a breastplate.
Is there AC? Does it say if it's armor or natural armor or whatever?
It says under armor class AC 15 breastplate.
Okay, so they do wear a breastplate. Okay, which I'm
but
gonna
you could
give
put them in anything.
A Buzz Lightyear.
It's like a steampunk.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go real alien. Not alien as in the movie, but sci-fi. I think
you're going very Flash Gordon.
Yeah, that's kind of the look.
I like it a lot. Going Flash Gordon, Mindflayer's never even thought of that.
You see, I think I'm gonna have to look up some references later on when I'm getting really in there, just so I make sure I get these Gordons alive. Oh my god! So I get these Gordons alive. Please kill me.
I need to make sure these Gordons are alive.
Anyway,
Gordon's alive. Gordon's alive.
How many subscribers do we need to get?
My Hawkman.
How many episodes do we need to do before we get Brian Blessed as a guest?
Only like 4 more, I think.
Only 4 more. Oh god, my fault. To be TBH. I feel like there's not a whole lot I can say about the Mindflayer
experiences
right now. I've only played against him once, I think.
I remember playing against one as an enemy. Was that in the? That was the library.
That was in the school.
And that was cool. And again,
that was a very cool encounter.
That was one of the first ones that in that campaign that we found quite hard, I think was the word.
Yeah, it was. There were mitigating circumstances within. We had big golems on our side that made the fight doable.
That's the thing. Yeah, it was one that we had a lot of help with.
This was like an occupied magic school, and they were devouring the students.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about that is just we didn't have we everyone was quite scared to go near him. I seem to recall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
they sat back and didn't reveal themselves for a long time.
That's true. Yeah, because again, everyone who plays D&D is very much aware of Mindflayer's just eat your brain move, which is pretty devastating.
And it makes so much fear in them about
understandably, players will be a bit wary of the thing that will just eat your character's brain and kill it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And of course, at that point, we'd had someone's brain had been eaten and replaced by an intellect devourer. That's a whole other episode, though.
I like intellect devourers a lot.
They're very funny. I'm kind of stalling because I don't really know what to do with this skirt because I don't want to just leave it blank, but also it's very Flash Gordon to just have a long like silk robe that is just that.
You could have a pattern.
Yeah, and to be honest, when I get into like doing the detail for the background, I think there's going to be a lot there. So having a very detailed foreground might be a bit weird as well. So I might. Should I put another Mindflayer in somewhere? They won't really fit anywhere, obviously. But,
well, Norman.
Oh, I always forget about Norman. I don't want. Do I want to make that guy Norman? Not really.
No, I don't think we do.
I don't think that guy's going to be.
I believe that Mindflayers don't eat people's brains who are dumb. So maybe it leaves Norman because there's nothing in there.
I don't know, man. Norman's got some hidden. Did you see him against that vampire? He was going for it, but I guess that might not be the actual. Right. That might not be the actual intelligent man. I don't know what I'm doing with all these tubes. There's going to be some lights. Maybe crystals. Maybe crystals is too magic.
Crystals are psionic.
Oh, that is true though. Crystals. Oh yeah, that's true. Another thing is
gem dragons and stuff.
Psychic stuff. Oh god, where am I going to put Norman? Holy crumb.
There could be a little vent he's looking through on the far right or something.
You need to put some sort of background there. Yeah, I mean he's going to be. Ooh, this might be one that I find him in later.
Accidentally floating in the tank.
I was thinking that is probably the only place to put him. So he might be in the tank. He might have to go in the tank, guys. Norman might have to be in the tank. Maybe that's his brain. Maybe put the helmet on it. No, I'm not doing that.
It's like Power Rangers.
That's the bad end. He's Zordon.
Zordon, yeah. Attention, Mindflayers.
Maybe he's gonna break it. Maybe he's sitting on the side and he's gonna.
With a chair, he's gonna RKO it out of nowhere.
Yeah. He's going up this way. I think he's gonna be up here. He's gonna have a big old sledgehammer.
Oh yeah. This is very good. Yeah. No, that's perfect.
There you go.
He's a hero.
Bring it into their regime.
Yeah, like the psychic backlash will like knock them all out, and then he'll free the prisoners and run out of here.
And it's gonna look at him and be like, I don't think they got eyes.
It's like, guys, I know you're very busy, but
maybe not that. But yeah.
I love it. No one's like, you and your goddamn machines.
Yeah, he's gonna save the day. He's a true hero. I'm gonna leave that as is for the now. I think, and we'll come back to that.
Oh my word! That's the best. That's the best one. Yeah.
I forgot.
It's the best one.
It's a fantasy, and I will say straight up, this is the best one I've done for this.
Oh my lord!
Pardon the expletive.
Don't worry, we'll reverse it in post.
Oh, look at Norman. He's been a hero.
Yeah, Norman. He's got some sort of hammer. I was gonna make the hammer like real complicated and like magic, but then I thought, it's too small for it to like matter.
Oh, it's heckin' sweet.
I like the body plate on the front one.
Yeah.
It's like Mass Effect.
I was about to say because we were talking about sort of like Flash Gordon, that era of sci-fi, and that's what we've got on the left.
Yeah.
And on the right, we've got a bit more of a more towards a modern idea of sort of sci-fi with this.
I like the unnatural bend in his arms.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember,
because he's inflatable.
When I was sketching it, they were just like Adventure Time arms, and then when I was drawing it properly, I was like, I'm gonna keep that because they don't have bones, but I'm just gonna give it muscle because they have muscle.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's real, and the fingers were very fun. All in all, I had a lot of fun doing it. I will also say, isn't there like a specific number of tentacles they're meant to have on their face?
Oh yeah, but you know.
Yeah, it's like they're meant to have like 4 or 3 or something. I remembered that like halfway through drawing like the 8th tentacle on the one on the right, and I was like,
Yeah, but he's just a new strain or something that the brain is trying.
You can do what you want with it. It's cool.
I like that it's clearly still a fantasy world though, with the victim.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like, because Mind Flayers, they're not fantasy. They are sci-fi. They're sci-fi things that happen to have landed in a fantasy world, which is awesome. And it's not something which, like, fully comes across, like, in their, like, official design, where they're basically just vampires? But with tentacle heads?
Yeah, they got very fancy clothes.
They got the very ornate kind of black, haven't they, in the book?
They have
the big cloak
robes,
and stuff. Yeah.
And they got like a shiny metal breastplate, and it's cool, but it is just like, if you put a vampire head on that, no one's going to ask anything.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
I wanted to do something that was just straight up that this is a sci-fi. Maybe this is just then after they've crash landed. Like, personally, if I were to do Mind Flayers in a game, I like them being in the Underdark is something I find very strange, mainly because the Underdark is so populated with other things as well. I feel like it's, because I don't know a whole lot about the official D&D lore, it must be said, it feels odd to me that they are so ingrained in the Underdark story, despite them having this whole other half of a story as well. It seems a little too overcrowded. There are rules in the book, I believe it's in the DM guide, where they have stats for like laser guns and stuff.
They have stats for the strange technology that they might have, like a thing that lets you breathe in space and stuff like that.
I see.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I feel like there's a possibility that if you were to be, you know, DMing with some Mindflayer stuff and not to think too hard about it and just like take things at face value, you might miss a lot of that stuff and just like put them in the Underdark and like, this is where these creepy guys live. It's like, okay, that's fine, but at that point they're just sort of squid vampires. Whereas if you go really nuts with them with the sci-fi stuff, then that can be very cool. And also, like, you could have fun describing something to the players which they would know if you just told them it's a laser gun.
Yeah.
But if you tell them, you know, this strange sort of like bowless crossbow hilt
that seems to shoot something that's the hot heat of dragon fire.
Yeah, and it's, I think it's like a magic wand, but with a trigger. You know, it's I think having fun describing, and you know, and as I've drawn here, like huge metal piping and stuff, like, you know, describing that in a way like like a pit of shiny vipers or something. I don't know. For the because he's got this psychic thing in the top right he's holding up. I was like, I've not watched Evangelion, but I know that there's that it has a sort of similar feel. It's like eldritch sci-fi stuff, and there's one of the angels in it is just a huge like cube.
Yeah,
which just floats around and like it changes shape and stuff. So I thought having the idea of psychic energy being, because there's a lot of like, psychic energy, just like big blue, like a Kamehameha or whatever. That like that's lame. I think having the idea of psychic energy being something which is not like understandable, so it just like you see it as like shapes, I think is quite interesting.
Really cool, yeah.
So like because they have that psychic cone, it's just like a huge cube
that shocks your brain.
That is like more blue than anything that could exist. Like just flies at you, and then you feel a lot worse. I don't know.
You could have all your senses fire up as like your brain's firing on full.
Exactly, and that's where like you can have fun if you want with like customizing stuff. Is like, you know, I don't think there's anything explicitly saying how psychic stuff manifests in terms of like visually.
Yeah, not in like modern D&D. About those psychic powers in 2nd edition was you can only defend against them if you are psychic yourself.
Yeah, that's right. They were just straight up. Oh. If you weren't psychic, you just had no idea what was going on. You
no defense or anything. Yeah,
they just win.
Yeah,
they
can often got badly.
Yeah,
very difficult.
Yeah. And I think this is why like Mindflayers, they've been nerfed a lot, I guess, since their initial appearances.
Most DMs wouldn't really have ruled with that apparently back in the day. They would have just run them as, you know, manifesting spells kind of stuff.
Is it time for numbers?
I think it is.
Time for numbers? I think I'm not actually I'm not sure. So if one of you guys wants to make your case,
what do you need the way, Neil? Yeah.
Mindflayers are one of my favourite creatures.
Uh-huh.
I adore them and will put them in any game as a main antagonist, because of you see a mind flayer, or you even figure out that mind flayers are coming, or you get a hint, like for instance a goblin raising his hand to his face and wiggling his fingers and pointing, then you know mind flayers, and it doesn't matter whether you know what they are or you don't know what they are, everybody is freaked out by the idea of fighting these guys.
So they've taken a similar sort of space as like vampires do in a campaign. They're like organised evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say they really make a good big bad to have in your campaign. They're ideal for it.
They could also just be a side incredibly horror thing of like your party need to go into the Underdark and you head into their territory.
Yeah.
And
I think
get the thing and escape, but don't really deal with it, because that's not the story. The story is dealing with this.
And of course, it's the classic traditional sort of plot arc of an Eldritch thing is that either you die horribly or you survive and the problem has not been solved, but at least you're alive, if a little bit crazy. Now, I think what you were sort of talking about earlier as well, like the way you reveal that mind flayers is super, super important to how you use them, because you don't want to just go like, oh, you walk around a corner, there's mind flayers there. I think if you're going to have them in your campaign, you should want to sort of like
you kind of want
up to the fact
you want to have encounters that like allude to them.
Well, as Neil, of course, in the campaign that you currently run, I think I remember you saying that you you introduced the idea of mind flayers being in it in like the third session or something.
Yeah.
It's very early on.
Yeah, and they're still not in it properly yet.
Oh right.
They're still not in it properly yet. So yeah, but there's been hints and tips every now and again.
And again, because it's one of those ones where I think you should, if you have them in there, you should like know exactly why you're having them in there. You shouldn't just throw them in. They're like a big. Doing them right, I think, is more important than just having them for the sake of it.
Well, they have so much going for them in regards to all of that lore, and like they can do so much more than they're not just an enemy that like you go and deal with. They should be doing so much more than that. They have like they have machinations and the such.
And if you don't plan on using them for your campaign, but maybe do need a villain to a side adventure, then the idea of a lone, hungry mind flayer manipulating a small group of people and that being a shadow of that can be quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, my rating will be probably my highest. I'm giving them 17.
17, right?
I'm giving them 17 because I thought to myself, Neil, what monsters do you like more than the mind flayer?
That's a good question.
There was only a few there wasn't many.
You know, that's a good point, too.
And I really like them, and I mean, look at this picture. Like, that sums up the mind flayer perfectly.
17 was the number I had in my mind as well, so I'm gonna go 17 as well.
Any similar reasons?
Similar reasons. Like every time that I've played in a campaign that they've been a part of, obviously most of them when Neil was the DM, they hype you up a little bit for having like a session or a battle.
It kind of like is the turning point of like it's getting serious.
Yeah, it's now like we're not killing rats or collecting borasses. Like serious business is happening now. So yeah, 17. I think they're fantastic. They're a great monster.
I really like mind flayers. I think I'm gonna go slightly lower potentially, mainly because mind flayers as a concept, as a thing in the game, are incredibly versatile because there's like loads of different kinds. And I think the base mind flayer is very cool, but I think I personally, if I were to be like thinking about how am I going to put mind flayers in this campaign, I would think of the other kinds of mind flayer first, and then fill in with the regular. Is it Illithid? Was that?
I get. Yeah, I was going to say like what you're saying is maybe a 17 would be Illithid, but mind flayers a 16 or a 15.
Yeah, because they are essentially super henchmen for the higher ups in their like group, and obviously like the higher ups couldn't just be the same, just other mind flayers who are higher in status for whatever reason. So I'm gonna go 16 again. Still really good. Sorry, I was just speaking in the elder tongue
in Underdark.
Underdark, yeah. If you don't want to get your brain sucked out, press.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button before they smash your cranium.
Ring the bell of notification. But yeah, all the YouTube interactions. There's a couple of these episodes out. They're getting better every time, I hope.
Maybe, we think.
I'm gonna stop recording now.
Yep.
Yeah. I like our outros a lot.